Welcome to Fortune Cookies Tarot. And in this video, we are going to do a check-in on Vladimir Putin. We will be right back. Again, welcome to Fortune Cookies Tarot. My name is Annabelle. I am a tarot practitioner for over 35 years. In this video, we're going to see what's going on with Putin. So I do have a referenced article. Putin put captured British armored cars and American tanks on display after they were captured in Ukraine. So they were displayed under a banner, a red banner. Russians love krasivy red. That was my Russian with an Italian accent. Sorry about that. Krasivy. Krasivy is beautiful. Krasny is red, I believe. I think I'm right. So the banner, the red banner, said our victory is inevitable. So this is a double down. It's a month-long exhibit. They're also going to parade them. So this will glorify the actions that they are taking in Ukraine. It is to garner more support. But let's take a look at what's going on. Let's see if this is to intimidate us, if it is to increase solidarity in Russia. Let's take a look. So the reason we're getting this is happening is because it really is to counter the negative press that is leaking into Russia. That is, I know they say there was Russian disinformation during our election, but I do think that there is some disinformation that's coming from the West going into Russia, trying to unseat whatever support of the events in Ukraine are generating. So just as this is to balance the scales, and we also have that with the Two of Swords and this Seven of Wands. This is all about balancing out the information that's coming in. So one of the things that I studied to a great deal is propaganda and persuasion when I was at university. Propaganda and persuasion is a fascinating subject, especially when we're talking about World War II, when we're talking about the Soviet Union, and talking about the United States in current day. So social media has really posed a very interesting aspect of propaganda and persuasion. It's one of the reasons that there are some voices that want to quell the public access to social media accounts like this one that you're watching. So the effort that Putin is making there is to balance out what's going on. This is the threshold, and again, this is his thinking. They are on the threshold of greatness once again in Russia, and only if they can come together will they be able to retake a seat at the table as a great superpower. Up here, judgment. This is trying to correct the information, the negative information that is coming into the country and disrupting the national fervor that otherwise would be there. Under the surface, this is an old school tactic, a traditional tactic of saying, here are spoils of war. This is what we should be doing. The exhibition is also running alongside the Moscow Red Square Victory Day Parade on May 9th. And that actually is to commemorate Russia's victory over World War II Germany. I'm not allowed to say that N word there. It tickles the algorithm. But this was to, this parade on May 9th is to celebrate their victory in World War II over the invading German forces. So is this going to work? Is this going to create more support within Russia for the endeavors in Ukraine? Is it going to tip the scales and bring more support to what they are doing? We're still going to have divided opinions here. There is a certain amount of westward vision that some of the young people have in Russia. They have some very hardline feelings, sensibilities about certain lifestyles there. I'm being very careful about what I'm saying here. And so younger individuals that are more aware of things that are going on in the West are looking toward the West. So I do think that there's something to be said for national culture and for maintaining national culture. But unfortunately, it seems like the cow has already gotten out of the barn on this one, and that some of the young people that otherwise would stay in Russia and develop different businesses and different revenue streams for the country are much more Western facing, and they're appealing to have a more Western type structure of government, a commerce system, and it doesn't quite work that way. Russia is an amazing country. Having been a student of Russian history, it is an amazing country on its own. It's been through some many incredible changes since the days of Muscovy. So if you ever have a spare year or two, sit down and study Russian history. It's pretty fascinating. Or pick a time period and you can just dig into that, and you will be entertained all day long. So I think that the young people that are listening to whatever disinformation is coming in, or information for that matter, I want to be as fair and balanced as possible, but whatever information is coming in, the people that are listening to that, they're still going to go their own way on that. They're going to make up their own minds. I don't think it's going to garner the same kind of conversion of some of those individuals into being stalwart. I am using the weirdest vocabulary this week. I'm so sorry, guys. Steadfast is really what I'm trying to say. Having had language aphasia after my head injury, it always makes me concerned when I'm saying the wrong words. But steadfast nationalism in Russia, but it will increase the nationalism of those that are already very supportive of their government and very supportive of their country, retaking that place in the world. So I think that's going to be an interesting effect. We're going to see the people that are, and Thor Sandalwood and I just did a reading, a featurette on the Psychic News Report, our other channel, our collaborative channel. We just did something on that, and the protests that we're seeing around college campuses this summer for 2024, we're seeing the dividing. The two sides are buckling down and really digging their heels in. So if we have very extremes, conservative and liberal, people are, digging their heels in. It feels very much like we're going to see the same thing in Russia. The ones that truly believe in the efforts of the government and the work that has been done. I'm being careful with my language here, guys. The work that is being done in Ukraine, it does seem like the ones that are in favor are going to double down on that. The ones that are against it are going to double down on that. So I think we're going to see a division and a firming up of those lines. So let's see how Putin, the man himself, is doing. Let's see how he's doing right now. And every ounce of my being is going to go over to Lenormand. So we'll do just a few. Sun and Moon in reverse, the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, the Page of Cups in the upright, and the Star. Still super, super hopeful that he's going to be able to do what he needs to do or do what he wants to do over in Ukraine. It also looks like he's going to get a bit more aggressive. I think he is going to start to turn up the heat, and collateral damage is not going to be much of a consequence to him. But it's almost like he sees the finish line at this point. He sees the finish line. So I'm curious if we're really getting the correct numbers, the correct details that are coming out of Ukraine and Russia. So here with the Sun in reverse, it's a slow burn. There's a fantastic movie, get a box of tissues because it is very sad. Burned by the Sun. It's a Russian film. Stalinist era military man is at his dacha with his family. His daughter is adorable, so that's going to break your heart. But it is the story of how things worked in Stalinist Russia. So especially for even ranking military personnel. So, very, very tremendous film. So this is a slow burn, not burnt by the sun here, but a slow burn to reveal the mysteries and possibly the lies, to turn the Wheel of Fortune back into their favor and proceed with the exercises to success in the future. Here, Temperance, he does not care whether he has 100% support. He'll take 70, he'll take 60, he'll take anything more than 50% support. So, but like I said, he's going to get a bit more aggressive with that. So let's go over to some Lenormand. Who doesn't like Lenormand? I know some people don't like it. So I'm going to also bust out some of my other Lenormand decks since I've been using it so frequently. Star. Mountain. It is a long climb to success and it will be difficult. So move these across a little bit, guys. Make sure we use up all this real estate. And there we have Foxy and the Snake. Ooh, two of them together. So, and there's the bear. We all know that Russia is represented by the bear. Mother of Russia. So, the long-range goals would be very difficult to get through, and history may not look kindly upon them. Star, mountain, cross. The cross is something to bear. I do think that Putin is willing to have his reputation in the immediate be poor, thinking that in history he will be seen as a more positive character. I think he is doing that. He is willing to, it's almost like sacrificing himself, sacrificing his personal reputation to have the end goal for Russia. In the immediate, the fox and the snake and the key. I think we are fighting this particular event very much with the use of spies, specifically those femme fatale spies. I think he has a lot of that in the country right now. I think these are, they're very, very smart and crafty women working on the payroll, I guess we would say, women that are going to be the key to everyone understanding why this event had to happen. So do we hear from these women eventually? Possibly. The bear here tells me that Russia possibly could be restored into this area, that Ukraine could eventually become part of Russia. Now, I've said this before on my channel, but if you're new, a lot of people will refer to Ukraine as Ukraine. Some people will refer to it as the Ukraine. The difference between those two presentations of Ukraine, Ukraine, when we refer to it as Ukraine, is Ukraine as a standalone country. When they say the Ukraine, that is giving that it is part of Russia. It is a prefect, if you will, an area of Russia, like the Black Sea. So, you know, the Siberia, the steppe. So, you know, when we refer to the Ukraine, that is presuming that it is part of the larger whole of Russia, but referring to it as Ukraine gives it some autonomy and standalone. So here with this bear, this is restoring the whole. But we are at a crossroads, and information will lock this down. So are these women that are the key, the ones that will bring that information to the fore and let us know what's really going on behind the scenes? You know, the unfortunate thing is that no matter how we slice this, there are going to be voices that say, "Oh, it's misinformation, it's disinformation, it's Russian interference, Russian propaganda." You know, so propaganda is not a dirty word, just for me. So just saying, I use propaganda in my daily life every single day. So, you know, I do think that we may have to get more information out of there that is genuine, official information. You know, can we trust the media that's coming out, because the sources may be tainted, the sources may be providing not correct information? I think that is really what we're looking at. So let's look at what we can expect. We'll make some predictions. My teeth just whistled, guys. Sorry about that. What can we expect? What can we see in Ukraine over? Oh my gosh. See in Ukraine over the next 6 weeks. I want to remind everyone, my good friend Thor Sandalwood did some predictions for next month, and there's a couple of trigger dates that some big stuff is going to be happening. So head on over to Thor Sandalwood and go check out some of his videos. He is also a contributor on the Psychic News Report. So we talk about some of that. So here we go. What can we expect in Ukraine? We're still going to be separate. It's not going to end. We're going to have, over the next 6 weeks, we are going to keep going standard procedure. There's going to be a lot of appeal to what's going on. So this is a little tough to read here. So still opposing sides. The situation there is, the conflict there is continuing. There is some appeal to the traditions of the past, but this is an unbalanced approach, and to steamroll right in there and just say, well, you know, it's mine. It's like that 5-second rule. Like I licked your sandwich, so I'm going to eat it. You know, it's kind of that situation. I'm not trying to belittle the situation at all, but it's kind of that mentality. Like, this was part of Russia at one point. It belongs back to Russia. That is going to be the argument, that what once was will be again part of the home. So it looks like we're just still going to be continuing with this. Any trigger dates? Are we going to see anything on these trigger dates? Let's see. The first trigger date, I think, is May 18th. Let's see if we're going to see anything on that. want, need, get. So for the 18th, we're still not going to have definitive assumption of that area. We're not going to have that. There's not going to be a change of leadership. We're just going to be kind of tra-la-lying. What we need is to be a bit more nervous about what's happening there. And what we get is some mysterious stuff behind the scenes. Again, it's going to be a convoluted message here. We're not going to get really solid information out of this area anytime soon. For the second trigger date, which I believe is May 25th, what we want, what we need, what we get. Oh boy. So what we want is we want one of these parties to really push back and take what is theirs and make sure that they fight for their homeland and they resist. What we get is negotiation. Or I'm sorry, what we need to do is negotiate further. You know, this is really the order of the day. Unfortunately, I don't think that either party is in the business of negotiating at this point. I just don't think there's any room for negotiation. What we get is somebody is going to pull a trigger. Now, this is on the second trigger date, which I think is May 25th. I think somebody's going to make a bold move on that May 25th. And I do think that Thor's reading echoed that. So, you know, this is an ongoing situation, ongoing dilemma. We've got a few pockets of the world that, and I don't mean pockets by anything small, but we've got a few pockets of the world that have a lot of events going on in there, a lot of information, a lot of things happening. So we're just going to have to keep an eye on it. So I hope that you enjoyed this reading. If you have any comments, you can comment down below. Please like, share, subscribe if this is your first time here. I do political readings. I do pop culture readings. I also do celebrity and royal readings. So I hope to see you all soon. If you'd like your own magical reading with me, there's a link down below. You can hit the link and set up a meeting with me. So I will talk to you all soon. Thanks so much.